What's good, everybody? Welcome into the Early Edge, your daily sports betting brand of record. We are powered, as always, by the almighty SportsLine, the best value in all sports betting, and it's not close. Now, we told you last night. I warned you. You just never know when those two teams are playing football. Nothing made sense. NBA early season, nothing makes sense. So be very careful. We told you. Take that unit size down, because last night, Bears, 33 points. What? Averaging 15 a game. What? But, as you know, today starts our new week. This is our line in the sand. So later today, M Squared calls it the most important hour of the entire week, our NFL weekly mega preview for week number 8 at 4:30 p.m. Eastern this afternoon. Now, don't forget, at 4 p.m., we have Early Edge and 5 more best bets for the night in sports. But on such a big day in the world, you know we've got to go 5 wide today. Let's bring in the stars of the show. Look at this, an embarrassment of riches. So on a Champions League Tuesday, ladies and gentlemen, we have no idea what he has decided to wear today. But Buckets, good morning, sir. Oh, no! Mikey! Oh, to start the show!
No. Just go to the next person. God,
I'm fading that pick today.
Oh.
Maybe all 3 of them. Now, live from Nashville, Tennessee, the penthouse level. And last night he told you exactly how the game would go, and he was the only one. M Squared, can you please get us back on the right track?
Yes, Coach. Good morning. We're getting back on the right track. Have an NBA play that I love today. Fired up to hear what Buckets has to say if he can unmute the mic. I see it's muted in the corner right now, so we'll see what happens here.
Oh, my God. I always talk about having professionals. Well, at least this man is a professional. Mike Barner. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. My microphone is working. My camera's working. Let's go.
Buckets. Oh, my goodness. It's like bringing a first grader along with, the high school kids. Now, this man, you can talk about R.J. White. You can talk about Mikey. You can talk about Maestro. But nobody is hotter in the NFL right now than my man, Zach Attack, live from Las Vegas. Good morning, Zach Simony.
Good morning, everybody. You know what? There was a strange story with that. I was doing good in baseball, and then I had that big slide in August, and I said, you know what? I'm going to go back to 2014. I threw out baseball September 1st. I said, I'm going to focus on football, and that's all I've done for 2 months. But that's going to change this week. I'm going to start sprinkling in some NBA, and, of course, college basketball is just under 2 weeks away, so we're going to change it up a little bit.
My crew can do it all. Listen to that. College basketball, NBA basketball, NFL. Let's go. Now, I had a way I wanted to produce the show. Jake had a way we wanted to produce the show. But after the way it started, I just don't even know. Let's try this, though, and see if it works. All right, storylines that could affect the betting lines today. It's a big day in the world of soccer. Champions League. Buckets, educate us.
I will educate you all. And if you cash that plus 110 on me to not have my mic muted, good job to all of you. But we're focusing on match day 5 here. This is a really big day in the Champions League. We have just 2 weeks of qualifiers left. And when we get to this point in the competition, it's important to know that some teams no longer care about this. Some teams have already won enough that they have qualified to where they're going to rest their starters and not risk injury. And some teams have lost so much up to this point that no matter how good they do in these last 2 weeks, their Champions League journey is over. So when you're looking for value in these games, you want to look for the teams that still have hope of advancing and teams that have to produce results if they want to move on to the knockout stages.
All right, you really have to know what's going on. Buckets, I also need to know what's going on because apparently my better half is in the chat. And Crystal says, it's okay, Buckets. It's okay, Buckets. Have you been talking to my better half without me around? Why is she texting you in the chat, Buckets? Oh, you don't know because you're muted now. Again. Oh, my gosh. All right, let's pivot from Champions League and let Buckets get it together. And let's head to the NBA because, Mikey B, there are a couple teams that came into the season, they're tanking. They're not going to be very good. And they've gotten off to pretty good starts. What do you have for us today?
Yeah, it's been a wild first week in the NBA, especially for the Jazz and the Spurs. They traded away their best players in the offseason. They're both 3-1. What's going on here? The Jazz have 3 really good wins, too. They beat the Nuggets, the Timberwolves, and the Pelicans, each of which is expected to be a playoff team. The Spurs have quality wins over the 76ers and the Timberwolves. They need to take notes from the Thunder on proper tanking. Thunder are 0-3, play the Clippers tonight, and they are sitting out Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Josh Giddey for injuries. So again, they might start playing here with the Thunder.
I like that a lot. Dickie says, Coach is a dog. I mean, maybe in my 20s, but not now. Not now. All right. Now, Zach, you said you're pivoting away from the NFL. I hope not picks-wise, but certainly storyline-wise today, because the Suns came into this season and they said, hey, we've got our issues in the past. This is going to be our year. We're going to go back to the finals, but it hasn't been such a good start for one player. Who am I talking about?
Well, DeAndre Ayton, a lot of people wanted him gone. It seemed like he was going to be gone when the Pacers signed him to that deal, but the Suns decided to match it, and it was a little bit of chaos because Ayton's body language throughout the offseason, he hadn't spoke to Coach Williams, really wasn't involved with the team. His body language right before the season wasn't good, but he's played on the court really well. When he's on the court, the Suns' offense has been a different level because Chris Paul has started the year a little bit flat, only averaging 7.5 points, so he's really been their second leading scorer. And the offense is just different when he's on the floor. But that's been a problem for him, is foul issues in the first couple of games. 5 fouls the past 2 games, 4 in the first one. But tonight is a night where I think he can stay on the floor and play an expanded role minutes-wise, because the Warriors with Kevon Looney, he's not really a conventional big that's going to give him problems. You go back to last year, he stayed out of foul trouble against the Warriors. He had 1 foul in 2 different games, 2 fouls on a third game, and 0 in another. So very good stat line tonight for anyone that wants to tail Ayton's props, who I think is still low based on what he's doing this year.
Yeah, it's also a very important storyline as far as props are concerned. Be very careful because there's a million different things that can keep a prop from hitting. Last night, Jaylen Brown, we had him at over 22.5. He had 21 in the start of the fourth quarter. It was a blowout. They sit him. He doesn't play the rest of the game. That happens. How's that coffee, Buckets? How's that coffee? Pooh Bear says, I'm sure Buckets has won Mrs. Coach some new shoes a time or two. Well, if you knew how much her shoes cost, it would have to be several games. Good Lord. $700-800. That's my life. That's my life. But this is also my life, SportsLine, and I want it to be yours too. Now, we don't have any plays for SportsLine today because I got 4 cappers on the screen right now. But if you want to join and be a part of what we're doing, we would love to have you. Use a promo code EARLY, and I'll give you all my cappers for free, all my simulations, everything. 30 days, then you're playing with house money. All right, now, where do we start today? Where do we start? Well, I respect. When I see faces that have been here since day freaking 1. So M squared. I know you got 1 play today, but when you normally have 1 play, I suggest people bang it right here, right now. Start us off.
All right, it's the NBA tonight. We're going to that Warriors-Suns matchup here that Zach was talking about. I'm taking the Phoenix Suns. I played them on the money line, -126. Excellent price point right now. Still available on FanDuel. This number ranges from 126 to 145 in the market. I've got a pretty hard stop at -145 on the money line. Also, personally, I've played the -2, but for the show here, we're going money line -126. But I want to pick on the Warriors a little bit. It's their first road game of the season so far. They have been playing with an absolutely incredible pace of play so far, but in doing that, they've definitely taken a massive hit in terms of defensive efficiency. Some of that due to the pace they're playing with, some of it due to the roster changes on their side. But we have a strong contrast in styles of play here. Phoenix going to be one of the slowest teams in the league. They have the personnel that is required to dictate the pace in this game. So it's going to be a slower, more controlled game from the Warriors. That's going to create a higher variance environment for them in general, considering the way that they like to score via the perimeter. I like the spot for the Suns, though. They are a strong, elite defensive unit playing on their home court. This is a great spot to grab an important win for them early in the year. Take the Suns on the money line.
Oh, somebody in the chat, Christopher, says it's -120 at DK, so shop around a little bit to get the best number. Comedian says, Coach didn't do M Squared's introduction. Come on, man. We don't do it every day. It's special. Can't do it every day. It's special. Now, what are you looking at, Buckets? Why do you keep looking off the screen? You seem nervous. Like you're going to go next. Do you want to go next?
I'm fine going next. I think I'd be better in the Maestro spot personally, but I'll go where you need me.
Wow. Okay. All right. Well, he set the tone. So let's do what Buckets wants to do. Mikey Barner, I know you're ready. You're up next, sir. What do you got?
All right, I'm going to go 2 NBA player props tonight. We got one potential future superstar and one current superstar. First off, let's start in the Pistons-Wizards game. Let's do Jaden Ivey over 14.5 points. That's minus 131 at Caesars. The rookie's off to a hot start. He's got at least 17 points in all 3 games, played at least 29 minutes in all 3 games, and he topped 32 minutes twice. The opposing defense for the Wizards, they got a lot on their mind here. They're going to have to slow down Cade Cunningham. The Pistons have some good shooters, Sadiq Bey and Bojan Bogdanovic. So I like Jaden Ivey to see some quality scoring looks and go over 14.5 points. Then let's go to that Suns-Warriors game. I like Mike's pick there for the Suns to win, but I also like Stephen Curry over 26.5 points. That's minus 130 on DraftKings. The Warriors have been easing Klay Thompson into the season. He has not played more than 27 minutes in any of their 3 games. That's put a heavy scoring burden on Curry. He scored at least 33 points in all 3 games. He's got at least 4 threes in all 3 games, and he hit 7 against the Kings in their last game. As good as the Suns can be defensively with Curry's high usage rate and his ability to hit threes, I like the over on 26.5 points.
It really feels like he's motivated this year to repeat. He is laser focused. Yeah, he's locked in. He's not celebrating like he normally does. He's really maybe playing as good as he's ever played, at least in the first 3 or 4 games.
Yeah,
Mikey, thank you very much. Everybody's excited to have you back today in the chat. Everybody's excited.
Oh, wow.
Everybody's excited. Now, Zach, I hate to break this to you, but I was going, because of how hot you've been, I was going to give you the Maestro spot. But as we know, some people like to go into business for themselves. So I'm going to follow his lead. And Zach, unfortunately, you have to go next. Is that okay with you?
That's perfectly fine. And everyone that's watching this video late, timestamp this 12:20. 12:20. Get my pick.
12:20. Boom. All right. You're up, big boy. What do we got?
But first, I do. I was just reading the chat comments. My favorite book in Las Vegas, Joe, is an off-strip book, Red Rock Stations Casino. It's a great book. They remodeled it 3-4 years ago. Best screens, I think, in Vegas, and great restaurants right behind you. You got Yard House. Clean book, which is very important. The smoker's not going to get there, and great coffee. So check out that. They're actually building a brand new Stations Casino closer to the Strip. The Durango location is being built right now. But 2 plays for me. I'm going to go with a Thursday night prop still with Mike Evans under 68.5 yards. I think you look at Evans, he's got 2 questions he's going to have to answer this week. Already answered. He dropped that big catch against Carolina that could have got the Bucks off to the 7-0 start, 70-plus yard catch. And then the referee issue, signing an autograph post-game. So those are 2 things that are already distractions for Mike Evans. And you have that struggling offense, just disastrous performances against the Panthers and the week prior against the Pittsburgh Steelers. 3 points against Carolina. Come on. I think Baltimore is going to limit Mike Evans because he's their main option right now. We saw what they did against Amari Cooper. They limited him. And even the week prior against the Cincinnati Bengals, they had Jamar Chase shut down until like a 34-yard catch in the 4th quarter. So I'll take under Mike Evans, 68.5 yards. And then my first player prop is going to be in the NBA for Chris Paul over 13.5 points plus 105. If everybody remembers the playoff props I was given, I would always hammer Chris Paul in spots and Al Horford. And I think this is a great spot for Chris Paul. He statistically, you look at his points and you say, wow, 37 years old, he's not playing well, but he is performing in the other categories. 11 assists per game, 5 rebounds per game, 3 steals. So he's still producing. He just hasn't shot the ball well. 1 for 11 from 3-point range, 32% from the field. This is not the normal Chris Paul. He will get his shot back tonight. The last 3 years, he shot nearly 50% from the field. I like this prop over 13.5 points plus 105.
You get an NBA prop, you get an NFL prop, and you get advice on sports books and food. That's Zach Simony in a nutshell right there. Right there. Now, Mikey B, quick question. What would you play that Steph Curry prop up to, sir?
I saw it at 27.5 in a couple places. I'd be okay with that too.
Okay. All right. Very, very good. Now, the time has arrived. The time has arrived. And in the chat, I lose it. We have so many people watching and chatting, but basically you've been invited, and Freya has been invited to Nova Scotia to stay in one of our fans' house, which sounds like something you would do, Buckets. It really, really does. Don't go to Nova Scotia, okay? Don't go to Nova Scotia. I've been there. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's hard to get to, though. All right. Now, so important. We have the World Cup coming up in a matter of weeks. You're going to see Buckets, the Guru, the Silent Assassin all over your screens however you watch. But this is still the group stage and you got to be very, very careful, which is why Buckets is prepared today with not one, not two, but 3 big plays. So, Buckets, you wanted the spot. You wanted the smoke. You got the smoke. You're up, big boy.
I wanted the smoke, Coach, and I will deliver on requesting this Maestro spot how I did. We're going to start off by following our storyline advice and betting on these teams that have to find results here. We've got GNK Dinamo Zagreb hosting AC Milan in a must-win fixture for both sides. After 4 games, each team only has 4 points, and if they lose this afternoon, their Champions League dreams are done. They are out. They cannot advance. Now, while AC Milan is the much better team on paper, their defense has been kind of iffy so far, not only in Champions League, but in all play this year. They've conceded in 9 of their last 10 games and are the only team that has conceded in every single Champions League game in this group. They are traveling to Zagreb, which is a notoriously hard place to play, as Dinamo has scored when playing at home in their last 20 games in a row. Both teams to score here at -120 is incredible value for our first pick. Now we're going to bounce over to Portugal, where we've got Benfica Lisbon hosting a broken Juventus team. Benfica has been one of these teams that has been just beyond dominant across all play. Kind of following in Dinamo's footsteps, Benfica has the longest winning and draw streak in Europe right now, with 25 consecutive games without a loss. It has been 7 months since Benfica last saw a loss, and now they get to play a Juventus team that just lost to the minnow of the group 2-0. Benfica only has to get a draw here to guarantee their spot in the knockout stage. So while I do like the money line, we're playing a little bit safer at Benfica double chance plus over 1.5 goals, same game parlay for this matchup. Finally, I will not be on the show tomorrow. However, you know, when the best team in the universe, my team, when they're playing, we absolutely have to have a pick for these guys because they are one of, if not the most dominant sides in the world right now. Bayern Munich will be traveling to Camp Nou to take on Barcelona in the reversed fixture in what is honestly an extremely tricky game to bet on. Barcelona's motivation is non-existent right now because not only do they have to beat Bayern to advance, Victoria Pilsen has to beat Inter Milan for them to advance as well. And Victoria Pilsen, as we know, is not going to make that happen. They're a plus 3,000 right now to get a win in that game. Both teams are riddled with injuries. However, we can bank on Bayern's experience here as they have the world record for the longest win streak in the Champions League knockout stage. I was not allowed to legally drink the last time Bayern Munich lost a group stage in the Champions League. 31 straight wins in a row. And the books are going to give us Bayern Munich draw no bet at plus value. At plus 105 here, Coach. It's ridiculous.
Wait. It's been 18 years since they won?
18. How old am I?
Oh, my God, Buckets.
Wait.
Really?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, my gosh. It was a joke. It was a joke. I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
Some books don't have both teams to score. They're asking in the Milan game over 2.5. Would you play that?
I would, solely because as soon as that first goal is opened up, because this is a must-win game, defense will be non-existent for whatever team falls behind. It is going to be nothing but attack for 90 minutes in this matchup.
So as you were saying that, Jason says, from what I hear, maybe you still shouldn't be able to drink. That is very funny. By the way, Mike, you have a question for you because every now and then we need to educate and entertain. There was a question in the chat about how many picks you make a day, how you stay disciplined, how your unit size. What's kind of your philosophy on how many picks you would make in a day? Because I love when you tell the people kind of how you go about your business.
Yeah, so this one's tough to handle really because the events typically aren't correlated. So there's no real difference in having 4 picks today and only 1 pick tomorrow or 2 and 3 each day. I think what's more important is the unit sizing on the individual plays. I understand if you want to not have, say, more than 10% of your bankroll in play in a given day, but it's essentially like flipping a coin, right? I flip heads the next time, it has no impact on the next coin flip whatsoever. So in that scenario, it's really whatever you're ultimately comfortable with. I would like to see people limit their plays to 1 to a maximum of 2.5% of a bankroll, but that's just me personally.
All right. So the reason you do that is so if you have a bad day you can absorb it, and you're not going to go crazy in the chat or on Twitter and say, oh, I lost, I can't play for 3 weeks. Discipline. Believe me, when I was in my 20s, I had none. Since I started working with this crew, that's how I learned. And I still struggle with it. It's a struggle, but that's what you got to do. And Mikey's the best at it. All right. I think I've answered all the questions. Grab your paper. By the way, there was a question about doing a Tuesday NBA parlay. I like that idea. So here's what we're going to do. Every single Tuesday on Early Edge and 5 at 4 p.m. Eastern time, we will have an NBA parlay. 2 teams. And we'll call it something. I'll come up with something. But we'll do it every single Tuesday, and I'll put it on somebody's plate to supply that. But we'll start doing that this afternoon. Great idea. Love it. All right, grab your paper. Grab your pencil. Here's the recap, courtesy of the Snake. On the ones and the twos, Zach Attack. He's on Chris Paul tonight. Over 13.5 points. Then Thursday Night Football. Never too early to get the play in. Beat the number. That's the whole point. Mike Evans under 67.5 receiving yards. Their offense has done literally nothing. Then buckets, 3 big plays from the Champions League. We're going to go both teams to score. AC Milan, Dinamo Zagreb. Now, he did say over 2.5. Wouldn't mind that at all. Once the first goal goes through, then the play will open up. Then Benfica. Double chance plus over 1.5 goals in the game, minus 155. Then Bayern Munich, that game is on Wednesday. Draw no bet. That's just the bottom of the little box where you make the bet. And a tie is a push. So I like that draw no bet. Then Mikey B, 2 big NBA player props tonight. Jaden Ivey over 14.5. I love this kid. I love watching him play. Then Steph Curry has been on fire to start the season. He wants another MVP the way he's playing right now. Over 26.5 points. Mikey B said he would play it up to 27.5. And then Mikey is on one play today. The Suns on the money line at minus 126. You can find it a little bit cheaper around, so shop if you have that ability. First of 3 big shows today. Again, at 4 p.m. Eastern time. 4 p.m. Eastern time. Then 4:30 for me, Mikey, RJ, Maestro. It's a combination of all of us for our weekly NFL mega preview. And Buckets, that's NFL is football in the United States. Because as we know, you didn't know who Dr. Dre was. Did you know about that, Zach? Did you hear about that? No, you didn't hear about that. Yeah, didn't know who Dr. Dre was. Didn't know who Eminem was. Did know Snoop Dogg, but it was embarrassing. Much like how the show started today. So, with that being said, there's only one thing left to do. And I believe you all know what that is. Damn it, I love this so much. You've got your marching orders. Let's take all of these tickets straight to the pay window. For my entire crew, love them all. Even Buckets. Mikey B, M Squared, Zach Attack, and Jake the Snake on the ones and the twos. I am the coach. Set those notifications. Every time we start a show, we want you here, whether it's on YouTube, listening on Apple, listening on Spotify. We want everybody at the early edge. Good luck.